We actually met on a dating app. I got real bored with Tinder, so I switched over to Bumble and let the girl talk to me first.
Okay.
The good stuff.
Nice.
And then I actually invited her out for drinks, but turns out she's allergic to alcohol. And
okay.
that was the first green flag that I got from her. So we went for coffee and just got some coffee, walked out on the beach, talked about our life stories, and then I was like, you hungry? And she went out to Denny's with me. Oh, and I got to meet her family on the first date, actually. It was very impromptu.
Wow. Okay. So you guys met on Bumble, it sounded like. And actually, there's a video on this. So why don't we pull up I think it's the next video here that we have. That's how she met her husband. Okay. Go ahead and we'll play it.
Part 3 as to how I met my husband. From the first coffee meetup, I knew that he was a one, but that didn't mean that I was going to cancel on all my other dates. We are believers of rotational dating here, and we're single until we're not. But what did my husband have to do in order to get my full attention? For him to get exclusivity. After our coffee meetup, he did invite me on an actual date, and we both knew that we were talking to different people. Because if you're on the apps, you just know that you're talking to multiple people. But of course, my husband wanted another date. He was very insistent because he knew that I had options. But he remembered something. He remembered my work schedule. He remembered what time I got off. He remembered what days I was off. So you can bet that this man was asking me if I was busy or if I was free after 6 p.m. And he knew my days off. I don't know why I told him my days off, but he knew. Because he knew my days off, he would always call first dibs. After our first date, I would always receive a text message at 5:45 from this man asking me, what are we feeling today? Chinese, sushi, Italian? Every single time he wouldn't miss. I did have a part-time hostess job. My full-time job was managing rental properties. Let me rephrase that, leasing rental properties. So I worked on weekends and he was off on weekends, but this man took any opportunity to spend time with me, so he would always bring me lunch during lunch hours for me. Anytime I said I'm not available after work, he would be like, oh, but you're available for lunch, right? What do you want for lunch? It was getting spicy. And the one thing I loved about this man is that he would do anything in his power to give me what I wanted. This one time I mentioned to him that I wanted to go to Julian, and it's like a small town near San Diego. But I told him I wanted to go to Julian, and I was going to go to Julian on my day off. And obviously, since he was in the military, it could take days or weeks to get days off approved. I don't know how this man would do it, but he would take me wherever I wanted to go, get fast approvals just to take me wherever I wanted to go. On the third date, we were eating sushi, and he looked at me and he told me, you're my wife, and I'm your husband, and I will prove it to you. I have a year to prove it to you that I am your husband. How sexy is that? Like, put yourself in my position where you just met this hot, sexy, southern man who's extremely masculine with a thick accent. He's telling you this. But you ladies already know that I think talk is cheap, so I did not believe him. I was like, yeah, right, prove it. And well, here we are today. And because men also have standards, he said, hey, I want to continue pursuing you, but this needs to be exclusive. So I agreed to exclusivity. By this point, he had already showed me all his finances, his credit score, how much money he was making, how much money he had saved, his plans and everything. So I felt like it was safe to be exclusive with him. What made him extremely persistent to me was the fact that I had a physical boundary. He says that drove him mad, more interested in me because I had standards. And if I was willing to protect myself in that way, I was going to be able to protect our family and our relationship in the same way. Point being, never lower your standards for anybody. You are single until you're not. You are single until married. Ladies, be wise.
Did you mention like the third date about the finances, credit score? Was that in this video?
No, it was in another one. I said that I was exclusive because he had shown me his background.
Okay, I must have my notes here a little bit out of order.
No, it was in that video. She mentioned it.
I mentioned it, but I didn't say like what happened on the third date.
But you mentioned that he on the third date showed you finances, credit score, how much money he was making, how much money he had saved, his plans. So only safe to be exclusive then.
So no,
for you or?
Yeah, so I think we were both pretty open, and we both were rotational dating at the time. Mm-hmm. And I was just, the reason why I encourage a lot of women to rotational date, and men too, I encourage both men and women to rotational date, is to see, your options and really get to see who really is putting their best foot forward to win your heart, both for both men and women. Mm-hmm. And Justin was just extremely persistent, and he spoke my language. We both wanted the same thing. Mm. So I think, and because he wanted my full attention, I think he knew that finances was important. Because we both wanted marriage, and in marriage, finances is a really big hot topic. So I think that, the way that I took it, he was extremely proud of where he was in his life, and he just showed me everything. He didn't have anything to hide.
Gotcha. And it sounds like you were both doing the rotational dating thing, which sounds like just means dating other people. Yeah. Did you have any issues with that? Did like that? Because I mean, it seemed like you really, really liked her. Was it to some degree upsetting, like that she was dating other men, or was it you just like, that's how dating is? Did you kind of accept it?
Well, the moment she looked at me and said, "Should we be exclusive?" I said, "Yes.
Yeah.
Let's be exclusive. I don't want to see other people. This is what I want." I knew what I wanted.
Gotcha.
That was it.
Gotcha. But early on, when it sounded like perhaps you were both upfront with each other that you were doing the rotational dating, was that at all? Well, I suppose you were doing it too, so maybe you felt like I'm doing it, she's doing it, it is whatever. But I mean, was it upsetting to hear that she was rotational dating?
Well, I knew she wasn't being promiscuous when she was rotational dating, so
yeah.
It's not really that big of a deal. I knew she wasn't kissing nobody. Our first date,
Sure.
She didn't even kiss me. Like, I tried.
You tried?
Yeah. I even tried to hold her hand. And actually, I tried to. She was walking across the street, and I held her hand to keep her from getting run over by a car. And she said, "I'm not holding your hand."
Oh shit! Okay.
So a car's honking at her, and
wait.
I'm
So
just
did you
pulling her
go
out
for
of the road.
You went for the grab, and she was like,
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
I knew this was a different breed of woman.
Oh, okay.
I came from a long line of this is easy. Okay, next.
Got it. Okay. Gotcha. And were you wait, hold on. Because I feel like the whole rotational dating thing, like, because I didn't know coming onto the show that you had waited until marriage to have sex and that you were a virgin. So when I think of rotational dating, I think like they're sleeping with other people. So that, I mean, I think that's certainly gives me a different view on it. Because I would certainly I wouldn't even pursue a girl that was sleeping with other men.
Exactly. So that's why I tell my ladies to rotational date, but rotational dating doesn't mean to be intimate. I'm like, spend time with each other. Like, let's go back to how it was where you're just trying to find connection to see if it works out. And that's why there's this big thing on like coffee dates, but that's why I don't say coffee dates. I say coffee meetups.
Right.
So you can get to know, preview to the movie.
Sure.
And it's a new form of dating. Like you can talk to multiple men. I want women to talk to multiple men, just, sleeping and kissing. That should be exclusive. I talk about girlfriend privileges versus wife privileges, dating privileges, versus the other ones. And I think men should also have standards as well.
Did you have something?
Yeah, so I definitely agree on that. And when I got single from my ex, we're together 11 years. I was 19, he was 10 years older. When I got out of that relationship, we were engaged, I had no idea how to date or what to do. I was so young when I met him. I have hardly dated before. But I totally agree, because me and my husband now, we had a long distance relationship. I lived in Sweden, he lived here. So we spend a lot of time just talking on Skype and on FaceTime and texting. And I think when you do that, you get to know that person so well, because you're not scared of like telling that person everything. Like, listen, I have debt, I have this, I have this, I have that. And he was like, I have this and I don't have that, but I have this, So I just think it makes it so much stronger when you actually have those conversations instead of going on a date and jumping in bed.
Interesting. And on the rotational dating thing, I disagree with you a little. Well, you do make some valid points with it. However, my view is, and my own advice to men is, where I suppose it comes at a conflict with your advice, is that as a guy, I want a woman's undivided romantic and sexual attention. So once I come into a woman's life, I want to be the only guy that she has eyes for. Immediately. Like, because even if she's not having sex with those other men, if she's talking to other dudes, me personally, and I certainly, if you have the leverage to do this, I recommend you do it. But if she's like a fence sitter, like she's, I don't know if I don't want to be a maybe for a girl. Like, I want immediately that like genuine, just immediacy with her interest in me, and I want it undivided. So
what I would say is you have to win it, and that's what I tell my ladies: win it. You have to work for it.
Me?
You have to work
Or
for my
guys?
attention. Yeah, absolutely. Women lose again.
I am the
women
table.
lose. No,
I am the table.
Okay, no.
We'll get
and
into that in a little
yeah,
bit. But.
Absolutely. So, and I think like my husband got my undivided attention, after a couple dates because like he won it. So I think that it's valid to want that.
Yeah.
But to, you have to win her over, because then again, like women lose. She's spending, the more time she invests in you, she's losing more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're not proposing or you're not suggesting marriage, again, she loses. So I think that
Sure.
Totally valid. I totally see why you would want her full attention, but you got to earn it, boy.
Yeah,
So
totally true.
I think you can.
That doesn't help anybody.
I have earned it.
That might work with women who don't really recognize their worth, but women who know their worth and women who like know the type of life that they want, it's not going to be acceptable.
Well,
But
I
when
think
it
you
comes-
can.
go
I
ahead,
think
go
you can know your worth and still not rotational date. Like you can go one person at a time. I'm only going to invest time in you. Okay, there are these things. Okay, morals don't align. Whatever. I'm not going to see you anymore. Go to the next person. So I could see that working. I don't know about the like having 3 guys on my roster and I'm going to let them vie for my attention and the best man wins.
So
I don't think it's a super long-term thing though.
It's
Like
not.
I don't think they're in this dance for like, months on end. I think it's like like we dated for 2 months or for 2 weeks. I figured out after 2 dates, not into it. You
Look,
know what I mean?
and
And
hold
I
on,
think
hold on.
if other men are fine with it, that's fine. But what I can say for me personally, if I come into a woman's life, even the first time meeting, and she's telling me, "Hey, I've had this. I've actually had this happen. I went on a date with a girl. I met her on Hinge. I think dating apps are a huge L, generally speaking, because that's where you often encounter people that are dating multiple people. And look, that's kind of the way the dating world is. I personally don't think I don't agree with it, but I went on this date with a girl. She had just downloaded the app. She told me like, "Oh, I just downloaded it this past weekend," and we went out on a Wednesday or something. And she had told me she'd already been on 2 dates and that she had 3 dates planned for the weekend. Instantly lost interest. I was like, okay, like I'm not gonna be like number 3 and like this. Like I'm not
And
interested
that's
in you.
fine. And that's totally fine.
Yeah, and I don't think you object to that. But
yeah.
what I'm saying is like if this whole rotational dating thing, I don't think like I think there's some pros to it, but I also think like there are some men, if they're aware, and I think honesty is very important. If you're like saying, "Hey, just letting you know, like I'm dating other people right now," like I think a lot of good men are going to be like, okay.
Yeah.
Well, he was
they
a
can have
good
it.
man.
No,
and,
I'm not
you know-
saying. I'm not
No, no,
saying
but
that. I'm
no,
not
no,
saying
no.
that he-
I understand, but let me go ahead and address one point. So the reason why I say to rotational date to women specifically is because women get attached. We're emotional.
Get
beings.
attached. I like women who get attached. Get attached.
But the
Well, I'm
thing
the
is,
right
they
guy.
might not
The
like
thing is-
you
The right guy.
Yeah,
and not
well,
want
here's
to
the
get
thing.
together.
Get attached, baby.
I completely,
I like attached women.
I wish I could say that we could do that and we should do that. But the thing is, like, we've been mistreated and in a way taken advantage of because we've done that before. So the solution that I proposed was like, why don't you just talk to multiple men? You're just talking. You're just getting to know each other. You could go to a coffee meetup first, because women, we're emotional beings. Like the first thing that we want to do is to get to know you even more. And what happens? You prolong that into 2 weeks, into 3 months, into 6 months, into a year, and then there's no ring. So to avoid all of that, because another thing, I coach women who date for marriage. I don't coach women who are just dating to mess around. So I think that's the main reason why I suggest that. And again, it might not be like your cup of tea, and that's fine. But there are still, I don't want to tell, I do want to let women know that there are good men who are going to be like, okay, well, if she treats me this way, that she's not letting me hold her hand, she's not kissing me, she's not being promiscuous, she's just getting to know me, she's doing that with other men.
But I think you're like, to some degree, you're a bit of an outlier. Like you are, because you said you're a virgin, right? And I think I already mentioned this is that if you're a virgin as a woman, I think you have far more leverage and negotiating power to actually get that sort of treatment from men. But if you're a woman who slept with 20, 30, 40 guys, and you're like, okay, now my new standard, and look, as a woman, at any given point, if you want to change up how you move, that's 100% your prerogative, and men should respect that. However, men are going to look at that and just say, that's not the type of person I want to date. Like if a girl, for example, for me, it's like, okay, you've slept with 30 previous people, and now you're coming to me and like you want me to wait 3 months or 6 months or till marriage. to have sex with you, I'm just like, okay.
Why do you think we married so fast?
What's that?
Why do you think we got married so fast?
For the
Hello.
no,
Hello.
but I don't know. But
no,
I
but I
think,
know what you mean.
well,
I know what you mean. I know what you mean.
No, but I think.
get it.
Well, I'm sure you guys got married for other reasons, like you
Yeah.
care about each other, and
Yeah.
you love
Yeah,
each other.
Of course.
Finances, close personal goals.
Yeah.
The
well,
burning
like, obviously,
fire.
when sex is not like clouding your judgment, you can make those decisions. Like you have all of those conversations, all the difficult conversations immediately, so that you know, okay, is this person worth my time? Like, I'm going to ask them all of the hard questions, so I don't have to waste 2 years of my life sleeping with this person, getting connected with them, and then all of a sudden I figure out, oh wait, you're pro-abortion? I'm not okay with that.
Yeah, no, and to add to what you were saying about being the outlier, to add to what you were saying about being the outlier, that's the thing. I coach women who are virgins still and who want marriage, and it's like, it's really hard for them. And there's a lot of women who resonate with me because I did the whole thing. Purity ring, like I waited, I got married, I gave, I'm traditional at home. And there's a lot of women who want that. And that's why I think that my advice goes, specifically I cater to those women, but they still exist, guys. So please, I'm asking and urging us to have specific standards to raise these men up to, get better.
But I'm sure you're also, there's probably women who are watching you who are not virgins, who have double-digit body counts, 10, 20, 30.
Absolutely.
And I'm assuming that despite this, you're probably still advising these women to...
Yeah, because here's the thing. So I was raised by a single mom, okay? So my mom was, and I love my mom, but I was raised by a single mom, and I saw her get everything. She has everything. She has the dream life that she wants, her own house, the dream car. She has everything she wants, and she was a single mother. It just depends on the type of man that the man that you choose. If you choose wisely, you get everything. But that's where we're struggling of choosing wisely.
I do have to say, go back to women being. Going on feelings and emotional. Me personally, I don't go a lot on looks. Of course, the first time you see a person, yes, you like the way a person looks, but I kind of need to interact with the person to see if we have a connection. Like, do we get along? Can I talk to you? Can we talk about things? And if silence is awkward, then maybe we don't really work. So dating would be important for me to, go for coffee and talk to these people. You can FaceTime, you can do a lot of different things just to get to know each other, because you might be hot as fuck, but you might be a really not,
And that's totally fine. And I think this is just a difference of approach that we have.
Of course, yeah.
My personal view is, I think typically, I think as a guy, my view, because I think men should have much higher standards, preferences, and boundaries when it comes to this. My view is, if the woman you're pursuing, her romantic attention is divided. My view is that she ain't the
But lock
I'm
it
not.
in.
I lose interest.
She just met you. How are so they're supposed to get single to meet you?
I don't think
get
it's
totally
romantic.
available
Yes,
to meet
you're currently dating.
No, okay, that makes
you
sense.
said you were single. But you said you were single, and you're dating 3 guys, and you're sleeping with all of them.
It's more. It's not. I wouldn't. The way you make it sounds like okay.
That's what you
there's
said.
I know, but it's not it's like I saw my friend in New York last month, right? And then I come back. It's I'm not.